Hey, in this video we're going to be doing some simple self-massage techniques for your lower body. You're going to need a lacrosse ball and probably also a softball. And all we're going to do is spend about a minute on a couple of body parts. And I'm doing this just before going to bed, so I'm only going to be spending a little less than a minute on each part of my body, starting off with my right shin. And I'm just looking for some fun, painful parts in there. I don't have to apply a lot of pressure. I'm just looking for some sore muscles, and I know I have a couple sore spots today, as you can see from the grimaces on my face. On this day, I actually spent several hours running around chasing nephews in the sun at a kite festival, so I know certain parts of my legs are going to be a little bit sore, and the shins are definitely one of those spots for me tonight. Right near the ankle is a really hot spot for me, so I'm going a little bit slower, a little more gently there. But my right leg is usually not the bigger problem, it's the left leg. And so on this side, I know that there are some hot spots down here closer to the ankle bone. And when I find them, I'm going to just take my time. I can put a little pressure on my leg using my hand, and then just take my time and breathe. Again, a little bit of pressure and taking it slow just helps me get those muscles to relax a little bit. So when you're doing this on your own, look for a hot spot and just gradually try to get that hot spot to relax. If, of course, you want to take more time on any specific area, then when you're doing this the next time around, you can just set your timer for around 2 minutes per body part, or even 3 minutes if you want to be really thorough. It took me about 30 seconds to get that area to ease up just a little bit, so now I'm just searching up a little bit higher near the knee. That can sometimes be grumpy on my body. Then the next area we're going to work on is my calf. When I was doing a bunch of sprinting today, I was also thinking about the bunch of sprinting that I did the previous day, and I haven't been doing a lot of sprinting recently, so I know my calves are going to be sore and tight because that's how they were the day before I shot this video. So some pointing and flexing of the foot can help loosen up some of that nasty stuff in the calves. Again, take your time, find the areas that are rough, and just pay attention to them gradually. Try to teach them to relax and let go. Keep on breathing in a nice calm way. You'll notice I'm not grimacing the entire time. If I find a hot spot, I might grimace a little bit, but I do want to return to a nice, smooth, easy breath while I'm trying to get these muscles to relax. And I know with the level of soreness in my calves tonight that I'm probably going to be doing this multiple times a day for the next several days, if not longer, because these suckers got pretty sore and stiff. And so now we're on to my left leg again, which, as you can see from the look of my face, is much more problematic than my right side tonight. So I can use my hands to just push a little more pressure onto the shin, or I can use my leg and just put it on top of my left leg for a little extra weight, which is going to drive that ball deeper into the calf muscles. Just searching again for anything that gets my attention, and then I can point and flex and try to get those muscles to relax some more. Since we're only spending about a minute on each part, I don't have too much time to spend here, so I'm just gonna pick 1 or 2 spots and then move on. The next spot that I want to hit is my glutes. So I want to aim at basically anything that's behind the greater trochanter that will get me onto glute medius, glute maximus. That will also get me into piriformis and the other deep hip rotators. I have found recently that my glute medius is particularly stiff, and so I'm going to spend some extra time in there. And you'll notice I'm not covering a lot of territory, I'm not moving around in a lot of places. I'm just trying to find one solid little area of focus, and I'm just basically hanging out in that area. A little bit of movement sometimes helps for me in this area, but as you'll see when I get to the other side, sometimes just staying still on one painful, awful spot is a great way to go and does loosen things up over days and weeks. Now you can see what I mean when I'm parking on the left side. There's a spot just to the side of the opening of the pant pocket that's around the TFL gluteus minimus area that on me recently has been pretty nasty and gruesome. So I'm just parking. You can see that I'm just breathing, trying to maintain good spinal alignment, keeping my abs engaged, and just trying to focus on a relax signal to that really dense, knotty area. So I just have pressure leaning in right around TFL glute minimus, and believe me, it's getting my attention. I don't have to move anywhere. This is where I need to be, and I can often with this spot feel it have radiating effects to even my adductors sometimes. It's like the other muscles around the hip are tightening up and compensating because this little spot is so problematic. Now the softball is going to come in handy so I can get at the quads, and while I'm doing this you can also take a look at the spectacular sunburn I got from running around at the Kite Festival in Berkeley today chasing after my nephews. The pink is a sign of a well done piece of meat, and the white is where the meat is still completely raw. With the quad tissue work here, you just want to find any of the front of the thigh muscles, any spot that feels like it's really dense and really painful, you get to park on. If you are somebody who doesn't really have thigh muscles because you don't really exercise that much, or you haven't over the last decade or so, then you may still find this painful, but you want to differentiate between pain because you're pushing a ball into your bone and pain because the muscles surrounding the bone are themselves pretty dense and tight. The way to differentiate that is really to just take a look in the mirror and see if you have thigh muscles. If your thighs just look really thin and bony, you probably are not going to get a huge bang for the buck in terms of just tissue work and massage. You probably want to also do some strength work to help your quads get stronger so that things feel normal again. For those of us with thigh muscles, you want to make sure that you keep your spine in neutral while you're doing this exercise. You don't want to go into big anterior tilt or let your spine go into a lot of extension. Just keep your abs engaged, breathe normally, and find those dense, tough spots. Here I've got my lateral quads, the high lateral quads on this left side are a little bit funky, so I'm just parked here, not even moving very much, just trying to coax those muscles into relaxation. And now finally, I'm going to work on my hamstrings. I prefer to do this on some sort of elevated surface. Doing this on the floor with a softball just doesn't work very well because you can't really bend and extend the knee very much. So in this position with just about a foot of elevation, I can at least get some knee flexion and knee extension. You can work anywhere between the knee and the butt, basically to the sit bones. I actually recently have been working a lot up near the sit bones on my medial hamstrings, like you're seeing here. That helps me get better internal rotation, that helps my squat feel better, that helps a lot of things feel better. And when I neglect this area, I tend to get really stiff in my hips. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot of motion. You don't even see me do that much, but basically I'm trapping the medial hamstrings on top of this ball and then smashing away, just kind of leaning into it. Again, neutral spine, keeping my breath steady and stable, rocking back and forth, and really thinking in this instance about pushing the medial hamstrings a little more posteriorly with the softball. When you're doing this, you don't need to use a similar little woven stool like me. You could use a bench or a chair or a small willing or unwilling child as your elevation. Again, take your time on any hot spots that you find, whether they're up near the sit bones or down near the knee. It's all okay, but just be gradual, careful, and persistent with your efforts. And that's going to do it for this simple lower body self-massage routine. It only took us about 10 minutes. If there are other areas that you'd like to learn how to massage too, drop a comment down below and let me know where you want to do that self-massage, and keep it PG rated. Check out our hip health page for resources to help you with your lower body. Subscribe to the channel, click the like button, and remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.